Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that's both heartbreaking and infuriating because it's about a woman who was savaged by a pack of dogs in Tairua, New Zealand, and the aftermath that's still shaking the community a year later. Let's get into it. A retired woman from Tairua was attacked by 4 dogs while walking her own dogs along Red Bridge Road. What happened next? Well, let's just say it was a nightmare. According to reports, Donna was mauling by the dogs owned by Dave Anscombe. The dogs, which were wearing tracking collars, tore into her scalp and legs so severely that she said she had no blood left in her body and was lucky to survive. Imagine that, being attacked so viciously that you're left for dead. And here we are a year later, and she's still traumatized by the experience. Let's talk about the owner of those dogs. Dave Anscombe, the man who owned the 4 dogs that attacked Donna, claimed he couldn't afford to register them. That's a big problem, right? Because in New Zealand, dogs are required to be registered with the local council. But Anscombe said that 2 of the dogs were at the Thames Coromandel District Council pound at the time of the attack. So if they were already at the pound, that raises a lot of questions. Why were they there? Were they known to be dangerous? And if so, why wasn't anything done about it before the attack happened? The council, on the other hand, says that Anscombe was convicted on all charges related to the incident. That's a big deal. The court ordered both dogs to be destroyed, but Anscombe is planning to appeal. That's where things get really complicated, because even though the court has ordered the dogs to be destroyed, the council can't euthanize them without a court order. They're stuck in limbo, impounded, but not destroyed yet. And that's a problem for the community because those dogs are still out there. Even if they were in a pound, they could still be a danger to people. Let's hear from Donna's husband, Trev. He's been vocal about the attack and how he believes it was preventable. He argued that the dogs should have been put down immediately because they posed a danger to the public. That's a strong stance, but it's not unreasonable. If a dog has a history of aggression or has been involved in an attack, shouldn't the council take swift action to protect the public? Trev's point is that the council should have acted sooner. That's a serious accusation. But the council says they did act and they were following the law. They can't euthanize the dogs without a court order, which is what they are waiting for now, with only 1 resulting in serious injuries. That's a lot of attacks, even if most of them didn't result in serious harm. That's concerning. It shows that Tairua has a problem with dog attacks, and it's not just one-off incidents. This is a pattern, and the fact that there have been so many attacks in such a short period of time makes you wonder, why hasn't the council taken more drastic measures to prevent this from happening again? Now, I want to talk about the legal side of this. The court ordered the dogs to be destroyed, but Anscombe is appealing that decision. That's a big deal because it's not just about the dogs anymore, it's about the legal process. If Anscombe is successful in his appeal, then the dogs might not be destroyed, and that would be a huge win for him, but a loss for the community. It would mean that the dogs could still be a danger to people even after the attack. That's a scary thought, and it raises the question, how can the council ensure that dangerous dogs are removed from the public? If the legal system allows for appeals, then maybe the process is too slow. And in a case like this, where a woman was left for dead, does the system move quickly enough to protect the public? There's also the issue of dog registration. Anscombe claimed he couldn't afford to register his dogs. That's a problem, but it's not an excuse. In New Zealand, dog registration is mandatory. If someone can't afford it, they're supposed to apply for a hardship waiver or find a way to get it done. But if they are not registered, then the council has the right to take action. So if Anscombe was aware that he couldn't register his dogs, why didn't he take steps to get them registered? Or was he just ignoring the law entirely? That's a question that needs to be answered, and it's not just about Anscombe, it's about the system as a whole. Are there enough resources in place to help people who can afford to register their dogs? Or is the system failing those who are in need? And then there's the issue of the pound. If the dogs were already at the pound, that should have been a red flag. The council should have known that those dogs were a danger. They should have taken action before the attack happened, but instead they waited until after the attack to take steps. That's not good enough. The community deserves better. They deserve to know that the council is doing everything it can to protect them from dangerous dogs. And if the council is not doing that, then it's time for change. Someone who's just trying to enjoy her time walking her dogs, but instead she was left with life-threatening injuries and a trauma that's still affecting her a year later. That's not just a personal tragedy, it's a community tragedy. It shows that even in a small town like Tairua, things can go wrong, and the consequences can be devastating. And it's not just about the attack itself, it's about the aftermath. The legal process, the council's response, the owner's appeal, and the fact that the dogs are still impounded but not destroyed. All of that adds up to a very complicated situation that's not just about one incident, it's about systemic issues that need to be addressed. What can be done about this? Well, the council needs to take a stronger stance on dangerous dogs. They need to ensure that dogs that pose a threat to the public are removed from the community as quickly as possible. That means not waiting for court orders and not allowing appeals that could put people at risk. They also need to make sure that dog registration is enforced, even for people who can't afford it. Because if someone can't afford to register their dog, that's not an excuse. It's a problem that needs to be solved through government support or other means. And finally, the legal system needs to move faster in cases like this, where the safety of the public is at stake. No one should have to wait for a court order to protect themselves from dangerous dogs. This story is a reminder that even in a small town, things can go wrong. And when they do, it's up to the community, the council, and the legal system to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Donna's attack was a wake-up call, and it's time for everyone involved to take responsibility and make sure that the system is working for the people, not against them. Because no one should have to go through what Donna went through, and no one should have to live in fear of dangerous dogs that are allowed to roam free, even if they were in a pound. It's time for change, and it's time for the community to demand it. And if you have any thoughts on this story, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates like this. Until next time, stay safe and keep your dogs registered.